Welcome back and thank you for staying with us right here on the number one breakfast show in the country, Morning at NTV. Well, we do actually love the fact that you always keep it glued on Morning at NTV every weekday, 6:30 a.m. all the way to 9 a.m. Let me interest you with this very, very magical cup of coffee. It's called Inspire Africa Coffee. Now, if you've just woken up, yes, it can help you resuscitate your body's creative processes. You had that stalling business idea. You just didn't know how to execute it. Let's take a sip of Inspire Africa Coffee and voila. All the ideas will come streaming in. That's not a laughing matter. All right, we also do know that ULesson app is that avenue through which you could be as a learner, maximizing that energy on the internet to continue with your learning. In the absence of a teacher, in the absence of a tutor, yes, even a parent who is busy earning a living for you and looking for school fees when we resuscitate education in January, you can continue as a learner on your own as long as you have some MBs and also a technological gadget that can connect to the internet. And on that note, we'd like to call on the government to scrap the 12% levy on internet data or airtime. It's going a long way in dampening the resolve of these learners to actually continue with the learning, maximizing on the power of the internet. That aside, how best can we ensure that responsible gaming products come about? I do have Dennis Mudene Ngabirano, acting CEO, National Lotteries and Gaming Board. And I also I'm joined by David Katisa Karira, the chairman of Uganda Bookmakers Association. A very good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, let me kick off with you, Dennis Mudene Ngabirano. Let's get an idea on what the Lotteries and Gaming Board really is.
Thank you, Romeo,
Indeed.
and good morning to you viewers.
Indeed.
The National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board is a body corporate established by the Lotteries and Gaming Act of 2016.
Indeed.
With the main objective of licensing, supervising and regulating the establishment, management and operations of the gaming activities in Uganda. Mainly we do regulate establishment of casinos, sports betting,
I see.
pool betting, slot machines and bingo operations, the National Rotary, which is not yet in place, and public rotaries. And most important, our main objective is protecting the public against adverse effects of gaming.
Those who go for these gaming products, you are the ones geared towards protecting them.
Yes.
But you are not regulating the sector itself.
No, we are regulating the sector.
And you're also protecting the
Yes,
people who
and
go for this gaming product.
Yes, our main focus
I
is
see.
protecting the public against the adverse effects of gaming.
Makes more sense. Now, give us a situation analysis of how this sector was trained during this COVID-19 pandemic. Going from March of 2020 up to where we are now, we've had 2 lockdowns. So how have those lockdowns affected the sector?
Like all sectors have been hit hard
Indeed.
by the COVID pandemic. The operators have been really hit hard.
Indeed.
On the side of
regulator.
as the regulator, of course, one of our functions is collecting tax together with URA. We've seen a shortfall in tax revenue collection.
Indeed.
Financial year 1920, we were able to collect 50.6 billion shillings, and 2021 we had a shortfall and collected 43.4 billion shillings.
More like a shortfall of 7 billion.
Yeah. Again, this sector also employs quite a number of Ugandans. Available information we have is the sector employs about 9,000 Ugandans directly, and of course most of the betting shops, or what we call betting premises, have been closed, and we've seen quite a number of people approach us, especially the employees of these betting companies, trying to find ways how we as a regulator could help, but given the situation COVID presented, there isn't much we can do. But we are happy to see that the president reopened the sector, and what we are ensuring now is to ensure that the directives of His Excellency the President in terms of SOPs are well observed, so that the sector can make gains again as far as their operations are concerned.
Indeed, I hear you on that. Now, let's also bring in one of the players within the sector, and that is David Katisa Karira, the chairman of the Bookmakers Association, Uganda Bookmakers Association. Let's talk about how you were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic as the players within this sector.
Thank you very much, Romeo. We were affected in a number of ways. Initially, when the COVID-19 struck, we found that even games within Europe and other countries where most of our punters place their bets were suspended. So for us at that time, we could not even offer anything in the market in terms of what to bet on. So moving beyond that, we went into a period of lockdown where our shops were completely locked down because these were gathering points of people and could easily lead to spread of the disease.
Indeed.
And thereafter, we found that our business kind of slowed down. For those that had an online presence, they somehow managed to continue operating minimally. But for those that were only land-based, over-the-counter sort of sports betting, even the casinos, they had to lock down for some time. So that led to revenue shortfalls in terms of our businesses, as well as employee welfare was affected, and so many other things that it's sort of a domino effect that comes as a result of something like that happening.
Indeed. What measures are in place to see that the sector is revived from the pits of this COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you, Romeo. Most important, what we are looking at now is ensuring that these operators are in compliance with the set standard operating procedures.
Indeed.
And again, also the standards that the regulator has put in place to ensure that they are operating as the law prescribes. The other issue is we are engaging them, given that we know where they are coming from, as COVID has really affected, and we are having engagements on how best to move forward to ensure that they can up their game and we can ensure compliance.
What we do know, like you said, some gaming shops did not open during the COVID-19 pandemic, and upon the president giving the directive for them to reopen, it could also be divulged that many of these shops did not reopen. They did not come back because of so many reasons. So what is being done by the regulator and the other concerned stakeholders to ensure that many of these people who are now not operating or do not have any chance of coming back into the sector are helped to revive themselves?
Currently, we're in the process of renewing their licenses for 2022.
All right.
And the indication we've got is most of them have actually applied for the premises to reopen. So to us, that's a good indication that they are ready for business, and we will, as an operator, continue working closely with them to ensure that their businesses don't get affected.
David, are you ready to reopen? Are you ready for business, given the fact that many grappled with a lot of money issues and cannot reopen because of financial constraints? Do you also envisage a situation whereby more of these gaming shops actually fall off the wagon?
Truthfully, yes, that is going to happen. Sadly, that is the reality. Because during this period, in most cases, to tie in a good location, you need to have paid rent, say, for about a year or 6 months. And to pay that rent and you don't get returns, then you're going to get affected. So very many of our operators in the association are really struggling, and they're trying to find ways to bridge this gap in order for them to still have a sort of presence that can then lift them up again in order for them to continue business. Having said that, also we find that for the online operators, they were not as adversely affected as much as the ones who are majorly land-based. So with that, we find that we are eager to get back into the game. We shall find the resources. We have sound business plans, and we think that we shall be able to kick in and start our business again.
How has that digital transformation been effective during this COVID-19 pandemic?
I think it has been a very good revelation for us. The market has been grown for digital presence, not because we were driving it ourselves, but because of the adverse effects of the lockdown. So you find that because you found the shops closed, people had to look for an alternative, and that has actually grown the market for us. We see that many people are now using devices, mobile money uptake, in terms of them betting and collecting their money, which is something that we had not foreseen. It was totally not in our planning, but we welcome it as a sector.
Of course, Dennis, you need to do more as a regulator to help the players within the sector, because digital transformation is being touted as one of the avenues through which these businesses could thrive online. But then largely there's also a tax on internet data, meaning the people who could have gotten onto the internet to maximize on those chances are now wallowing and wondering how best will I actually go ahead and bet in that regard. So such measures, are you looking at maybe compelling government to look at this situation, maybe doing away with this tax and so forth? What else is in the pipeline?
I'll want to begin with what is in the pipeline as far as regulating this sector is concerned.
Indeed.
Section 61 of the Rotaries and Gaming Act mandates the board to set up what we call a national central electronic monitoring system for purposes of monitoring significant events that happen on the operator systems. Basically what that means is we are mandated to interface with each and every operator system and gaming machines. And in that we will be able to monitor the transactions that happen on the gaming systems. And what that will help is one, effective collection of taxes. The system has a couple of modules. The tax module, it has what we call a responsible gaming module, and that is basically geared at protecting the players who are involved in gaming. It has an anti-money laundering module. This sector is a high-risk sector as far as money laundering is concerned, and other forms of fraud. It also has a fraud detection module. So with this system in place, I can guarantee that it's going to be a game changer as far as the regulating of this sector is concerned.
All right, David, are you really happy and satisfied with how the regulator has handled the issues to do with the players within this sector, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic? Are you satisfied with the help you've received from the regulator?
Yes, we are very we've been happy with the response we've been getting. We are regularly in communication with the regulator. They have put in place measures for us to interface with them, especially online, because physical meeting has been highly discouraged, as well as the contagion that can come with it. So we find that much as we went into lockdown, we have been getting regular updates. We've been getting information through emails, and we found that the regulator has given us enough information for us to continue operating and for us to actually be able to navigate any issues that may come by. So in that regard, we are actually on time for licensing during this time with so many lockdowns that have been happening. So we find that we are quite satisfied with what we have been having so far.
Besides this sensitization coming in from the regulator in terms of information dissemination, aren't you part of the group clamoring for a stimulus package during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Of course, given the fact that we have been affected in terms of revenue into our businesses, we would like for something like that to happen. And of course, we have engaged with our regulator. We try to lobby because we would need some sort of tax breaks in order for us to bring our businesses back to fruition or to the level that they were prior to the pandemic. But that is an engagement that is ongoing, and we hope for the best at this point. But we also have to strap up and know that we may be riding this ourselves.
All right, Dennis, what are the challenges? What are some of the other challenges that you are still facing as regulators within this gaming sector?
We are facing a challenge of illegal operators.
Illegal operators?
Especially in slot machine operations. As far as sports betting is concerned, we got a new board in 2019, and their approach was, who are the illegal operators?
All right.
How can we bring them on board? And I can say they were successful in bringing on board about 5 illegal sports betting operators. So to us, that's a plus. And most important, these were Ugandan operators.
So licensing will help.
Yeah, basically we are able to also protect players if we are dealing with licensed operators. The main challenge now we have, and we are actually tackling, is the slot machines operations. We've gotten information on how some of these machines come in. They don't come in as whole assembled machines. They bring in what we call motherboards, and once they are in the country, then they assemble using our local materials here.
To evade taxes?
Yeah. Ideally, you're not supposed to operate these slot machines without a license from the board.
Indeed.
Even the places you operate them from, what we call the betting premises, are supposed to be inspected and licensed by the gaming board. However, we have made some strides. We've carried out enforcements. As of today, we've managed to confiscate about 600 gaming machines, and we have, through a court order, destroyed about 352 illegal machines. And we first engage with these illegals and try to bring them on board so that they formalize the process of getting a license. The other challenge we have is underfunding. Currently, our structure calls for 51 staff. We are currently about 27 staff. And if you realize, gaming is all over the country. So we must have presence, at least in each city or region in this country, to effectively regulate this sector, especially the land-based. With the online, the system I've talked about is basically going to change the way we regulate. But with the land-based, the premises, we will need presence. Of course, underfunding is also still a challenge, but we are closely working with our mother ministry, which is the Ministry of Finance, and it has really supported us, especially on this system that is going to ensure that we regulate this sector.
Well, of course, Dennis, the majority of individuals within this country who clamor for these gaming products are the youth. And these are the people who have been adversely affected by the effects of this COVID-19 pandemic, losing jobs left, right and center. Over 1 million jobs have been lost in the last 2 years. So ideally, these individuals do not have the purchasing power anymore to go for these gaming products in that regard. Shouldn't you, as a regulator that is also geared towards, collecting taxes from these players, shouldn't you be at the forefront of spearheading this campaign to get a stimulus package for these players? Because when they get resuscitated and their businesses are thriving, you have more taxes being collected as a regulator. But if you don't do that, you're dealing with a few number of players, little money coming in, little taxes for you and revenue.
On the contrary, yes, we appreciate the challenges. However, as the regulator, we also forward these proposals to the concerned parties. But from the information we have, we are seeing them coming back with a bang, I should say. So that gives us an indication that when COVID hit, we realized that most of the operators were shifting online, and that explains the small shortfall we got in tax revenue by about 7 billion. And the indication is most of the operators are still in business. So, but as far as the tax holidays and whatever they asked for is beyond our call as a regulator.
But you can spearhead the campaign, make recommendations, write some memos to the Finance Ministry and so forth.
As a regulator, we are not here actually to promote gaming. We are here to regulate a sector and protect players from being cheated, from getting problems with gambling. So our main focus.
It's not even the promotion. So what are you doing to safeguard the mental health of those individuals who clamor for these gaming products? Because one too many times these reports have come up. mental health being an issue among young people who are clamoring for these gaming products. What measures have you put in place to ensure that that is curtailed?
We've come up with a program called the Responsible Gaming Program, and this entails counseling and treatment, public awareness on the dangers of gaming, training, and basically forming strategic partnerships in ensuring that we fight this vice.
Indeed.
So this is going to be complemented by the system we're actually bringing on board.
The electronic system?
Oh yes. It will expose certain features to the players, like self-exclusion. During our visits, during inspection visits in these premises, the interaction we have with these players, they clearly show you that some are willing to do away with gaming, but the methods available are not availing them the opportunity to. So with this system in place, they are going to be able to set limits. You will be able to set a limit and say, maybe in a month I'm going to bet only 10,000 shillings.
Indeed. Responsible gaming.
Yeah, sure. You'll be able to have a feature called self-exclusion. You exclude yourself from betting, say, for 6 months, and this will be monitored online. With the system, we are going to have a data warehouse, I would say, because this system is built around what we call APIs, application programming interfaces. So we are going to interface with quite a number of systems, including government systems. So using business intelligence tools, we will be able to form our policies, guidelines with data. So it will be data-driven regulation. And with that, we'll be able to monitor the patterns of the players who do bet, and that will inform how do we tackle this problem gambling.
Dennis Mudene Ngabirano. Let's also bring in David. David, let's talk about another issue. Are you cognizant of the fact that mental health effects are actually riddling the young people within this nation who are clamoring for these gaming products? Now, if you are cognizant of these effects, what are you doing as sector players to actually curtail the vice?
Well, we're cognizant of the fact that as young players out there, they easily get addictions. Working together with the Lotteries Board, we have to try to come up with initiatives, like he mentioned, self-exclusion, whereby we find that individual operators have certain systems or modules on their system, whereby after registration, I should mention that this comes very hand in hand with the registration of the punters. So after registration, where we can identify who you are, we're able to then help you exclude yourself for a period of time. We have also partnered with some other NGOs out there, but this is on individual operator level. It is not an umbrella outreach of the Bookmakers Association.
More like a CSR.
CSR, yes, with certain NGOs like Heart to Heart and our Unity Foundation, whereby we have set up a helpline which is completely free.
Indeed.
We pay for the services. You get a counselor.
I like that.
So that you're able to be assisted and the adverse effects are curtailed in a way, or you find that you will get assistance in a way that you will find your power back in order for you to leave gaming. And also the fact that we would want people to understand that gaming it's entertainment. It's not a way of life. We don't want people to think that
it's a form of employment.
No, it is not.
Because we have individuals who wake up and they're like, oh, I need to go and work. Where do you work? Betting.
I know. that is the worst idea that you can have. If that idea can be driven into people's heads that this is same as you buying a soda or buying a movie ticket, look at it as entertainment. So we would want to compete with those entertainment industries, not look at it as a form of employment or as a form of gainful, returns to everyday life. So having said that, we try to make sure that we do ethical advertising.
Indeed.
We do not want to have people think that the end result of placing a bet is winning.
I like that.
Yes, so that is what we're working on.
All right, that is a very, very insightful conversation. Let me just get your parting shots in a few seconds. Dennis, your parting shots as we leave to the viewer who is watching, especially the young people who used to all like to clamor for these gaming products.
Thank you, Romeo. to the viewers, betting is addictive and can be psychologically harmful.
Indeed.
Know when to stop, know your limits. Look at betting as a form of entertainment. It's not a business venture, it's not a money-making venture.
Indeed.
Know your limits. We are situated at Communications House, 4th floor. One of the functions we do also is we receive, investigate, and arbitrate disputes in the gaming sector.
All right.
When we are licensing the operators, they normally take out what we call a bank guarantee of 500,000 million shillings. So in case you are out there and you've betted and for any reason the operators have not paid you, please reach out to us and we'll be able to bring the
I win my
operators
50
on the
million
table
and it's not given to me.
Yes.
Run to the regulator.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, let's also get your parting shots, David Katisa.
Basically, I think I answered that prior, and,
Yeah.
and he has come in with more or less what I wanted to say. Sports betting, casino is all about entertainment.
All right, thank you very much, David and Dennis, for coming through. It's been very, very interesting having you join us right here on Morning at NTV to just have this conversation that is actually very, very pertinent at this time when the COVID-19 pandemic is actually biting so hard. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
too.
right. That is Dennis and David. Well, you are still watching Morning at NTV. My other comrade, Stephen Imbid, a very good morning to you, sir, is on standby, ready to divulge details to you pertaining to the updates coming in from the jurisdiction where he is. But then we shall take a break and return shortly.